Welcome. We're going to continue talking about World War I begins. Today we're going to talk about the declarations of war and the pre-war alliances as well as the alliances during the war. So when Austria-Hungary, backed by Germany, found out that Serbia was involved in the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, Austria-Hungary issued the July ultimatum to Serbia, which gave them a list of demands that Serbia had to meet to avoid war. Now, Serbia agreed to most all these, but not all. So fearing war with Austria and Hungary and Germany, they agreed to most of the terms, but it wasn't enough. On July 28th, 1 month after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, Austria-Hungary is going to declare war on Serbia. Russia, who is Austria-Hungary's rival in southeastern Europe, is going to support Serbia, as they promised, and they're going to mobilize to support Serbia. And Germany, who has the dual alliance with Austria-Hungary and gave them what they consider the blank check, which means unlimited support for Austria-Hungary against Russia, is going to support Austria-Hungary, and they're going to declare war on Russia, and then shortly later declare war on France, because France had an alliance with Russia. Also, Germany and France were rivals at this time, especially after the Franco-Prussian War between Germany and France about 40-some years earlier. And this is going to be the beginning of World War I. Now, you had two major alliances at this time. You have the dual alliance, which is Germany and Austria-Hungary, and then you have the triple entente, which is Russia, France, and Britain. Britain chooses not to join the war at this point, but they will eventually join the war after Germany invades Belgium. European countries made several treaties and alliances during the age of imperialism, and it's going to be these treaties and alliances that turn this regional war between Austria-Hungary and Serbia into a war that involves almost all of Europe and eventually most of the world. So most continents and major countries are going to be involved in this. You have the United States involved, you have China and Japan involved in Asia, you have all the colonies contributing in some way to these wars, and it's going to be a real global war. And they call it the First World War eventually. At the time, it's called the Great Trench War, or the War to End All Wars. So here's a list of treaties beginning in about 1839. The first one is the Treaty of London, specifically Article 7, which states that Britain will protect the neutrality of Belgium. So if Belgium is going to get invaded, Britain will step in and offer them support. In 1871, Germany defeated France during the Franco-Prussian War, which we talked about earlier, creating even greater tension between Germany and France. Germany is scared that France will attack them back. France probably wants revenge. In 1879, you have the dual alliance formed, Germany and Austria-Hungary, partially because Germany is scared that France wants revenge from the Franco-Prussian War, and because Austria-Hungary's alliance with Russia fell apart. You have the Franco-Russian alliance. This is France and Russia. France has they have a common enemy with Germany. Russia also has an enemy with Austria-Hungary that they don't trust. You eventually have the Entente Cordiale. This is Britain and France, which isn't necessarily an alliance, but an agreement to support each other, largely due to common interests against Germany, stemming from the scramble from Africa and Germany's involvement in the Franco-Prussian War and Germany's development of their navy. And in 1907, you have the Anglo-Russian Convention, which is Russia and Britain get together. And with Russia and Britain having an alliance, Britain and France having an alliance, and France and Russia having an alliance, you eventually have the Triple Entente, which includes all three on the same side. So eventually you get two major groups, the Triple Alliance and the Triple Entente. We're going to focus more on the Dual Alliance, which was Germany and Austria-Hungary, rather than the Triple Alliance. So the Triple Alliance is the Dual Alliance, which is Germany and Austria-Hungary plus Italy. But Italy is not really going to have a huge impact in World War I, and they will not join until 1915. And when they do join, they're going to actually join on the side of Britain and France rather than the members of the Triple Alliance with Germany and Austria-Hungary. And then you have the Triple Entente, which are the three most powerful countries at the beginning of World War I on the side of the Allies, which is Britain, France, and Russia. So the Dual Alliance will become your main central powers, and your Triple Entente will become your major allies. And you can see the crossover here, where Russia is supporting Serbia. Serbia and Bulgaria are kind of rivals. You have Austria, Hungary, and Serbia are rivals. The Ottoman Empire, Italy. So all this kind of ties together. We have all these countries. If one goes to war, nearly all these other countries feel obligated to go to war as well. So you have Austria-Hungary versus Serbia and Russia. Germany steps in and fights against Russia and also declares war on France. And you have this range of declarations of war beginning in July of 28th of 1914. Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia after they find out about Serbia's involvement providing weapons and training to the members of the Black Hand involved in the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. July 31st, Russia mobilized against Austria-Hungary, as well as Germany, who they knew would declare war on them once they mobilized against Austria-Hungary. The next day, Germany declares war on Russia. 2 days later, Germany declares war on France, who had an alliance with Russia and was also enemies of France dating back to the Franco-Prussian War, and you could even argue further back, even before Germany was a country, with the Napoleonic Wars and the French Revolution. So the first step here is Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia, and you can see that on the map below. The pink countries are your Central Powers, and your gold countries are your allies. Your blue countries are your dark blue countries are your neutral countries, and then the light blue is water. Okay, so first thing, Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia, as you can see in this picture here. And there's a chart in your notes that you can kind of fill out the maps, label, and draw the arrows of what's going on. 3 days later, Russia mobilizes against Austria-Hungary to protect Serbia. Germany responds to help Austria-Hungary and declares war on Russia. And a couple days later declares war on France, who has an alliance with Russia and is a rival for Germany. So now you have Austria-Hungary versus Serbia. Serbia is going to quickly be defeated, at least in theory. In actuality, I think they continue to fight for a while. Russia and Italy are also going to fight against Austria-Hungary. Italy joining in 1915, hoping to gain land from Austria-Hungary, which was promised to them by Britain and France. Germany's fighting versus Russia and France. Germany is also fighting versus France, Britain, and Belgium. Germany is fighting against Japan in Asia as Japan's taking over German colonies. Germany is also fighting against China. You have Germany versus Italy. It's a long list of who's fighting who, but largely you have Germany fighting several different countries at the same time. Luckily for Germany, they probably have the strongest army in the world at this point, and are able to hold on for 4.5 years before they eventually will withdraw from the war shortly after the United States gets involved. So on August 4th, Germany invaded Belgium. And when Germany invaded Belgium, this is going to cause Britain to step in. If you think back to what we talked about earlier with the treaties and alliances, all the way back in 1839 under the Treaty of London, Article 7, Britain promised they would protect the neutrality of Belgium. Germany has a plan called the Schlieffen Plan, and you might write that down, although it's very difficult to spell. But under the Schlieffen Plan, Germany plans to invade France not along the French border, but rather through Belgium, because France had a long line of defenses and forts set up along the German border and planned to defend themselves that way. Already anticipating war with Germany. So Germany is going to go around those defensive fortifications and attack through Belgium, believing that since this alliance was all the way back in, the treaty was all the way back in the 1830s, that Britain would want to avoid war and would not get involved when they go through Belgium. They also didn't really think that Belgium would resist, but Belgium resists, Britain gets involved, and the same day Germany invades Belgium, Britain, who originally held out of the war for a few days, is going to declare war on Germany to protect Belgium, who they said was innocent. Well, then, May 23rd of not 1914 now, but we're talking 1915, Italy, who was originally had an alliance with Germany and Austria-Hungary before the war, They remain neutral until May 23rd of 1915, when Italy declares war on Austria-Hungary, their former ally, in order to gain land in kind of this region here. So here is Britain, labeled United Kingdom on a map, and they're going to declare war to protect Belgium, but they're not actually going to attack Germany directly, because by the time they get involved in the war, Germany's already in Belgium and in France. And here you have Italy declaring war on Austria-Hungary to help out Britain and France, hoping to gain land and resources if they win. Okay, as we talked about earlier, this is going to lead to a 4.5-year war between the Central Powers and the Allies. Eventually, the Central Powers will surrender. Germany primarily surrenders, and there's going to be a lot of revolutions. And when we get back to talking about this after World War I, the map of Europe will much closer resemble the map of Europe today than it did the map of Europe before World War I. So Germany will lose a lot of its land. As you can see, here is Poland. Russia will lose a lot of its land. This is where you're going to have Ukraine and Belarus and Latvia and Lithuania and Estonia and Moldova. A lot of these countries start to come into play as well. All right, thanks for listening. The next unit is over World War I. We're going to talk about early battles, trench warfare, the technology advancements, as well as things that caused the end of World War I. Thanks for listening. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll talk to you later. Bye.